Alright, welcome back to the Magic Wishing Chair. I'm sitting at my favorite picnic table on campus with a view of your bathrooms, which you have not been using. And we are on chapter, chapter 11. Name of this chapter is The Magician's Party. You guys comfortable? Are you calm? It's windy, but I think you can hear me, so we're going to roll with it. Alright. One afternoon, when the children and Chingy were reading stories. Oh, the camera is shaking. It's so windy. That's fine. There came a timid knock at the door. "Come in," said Molly. The door opened, and in came two small elves. "May we speak to Chingy?" they asked. Chingy waved them to a chair. "Sit down," he said. "What do you want?" "Please, may we borrow your wishing chair to go to the magician Greatheart's party?" said the bigger elf. "Well, it doesn't belong to me," said Chingy. "It belongs to these two children." "Would you let us borrow it?" asked the little elves. What do you think their answer is? I would probably say no. But these guys say, "Certainly," said Molly and Peter. "What reward do you ask?" said the elves. "Oh, you can have the chair for nothing," said Molly. "Bring it back safely, that's all we ask." Excuse me. "I suppose you wouldn't like to come to the party?" asked the elves. "We are very small, and there are only 5 of us to go. There would be plenty of room for you and Chingy, too, on the chair." "Stars and the moon, what a treat!" cried Chingy in delight. "Yes, we'll all go. Thank you very much. Greatheart's parties are glorious. My word, this is luck." "Then, when is the party?" "Elves, tomorrow night," said the elves, "sharp at midnight." "Well, we'll be there at 11:30. So, midnight is what time? 12 a.m. So 11:30, who knows what that is? 11:30 p.m. Nope. Yes, p.m. That's correct. "Right," said Chingy. The little elves said goodbye and ran out. Chingy rubbed his hands and turned to the 2 delighted children. "The magician is a marvelous fellow," he said. "He's a good magician, and the enchantments and magics he knows are perfectly wonderful. I hope he does a few tricks. Put on your best clothes and be here at 11:30 tomorrow, won't you?" The children were most excited. They talked about nothing else all day and the next day, too. They dressed themselves in their best clothes and ran down to the playroom at 11:30 the next night. Chingy was there, too, looking very grand indeed, for he had on a suit that seemed to be made of silver moonbeams sewn with pearls. The elves were there waiting, all dressed up daintily in flower petals sewn with spider thread. Even the wishing chair looked smart, for Chingy had tied a bow on each of its arms. Its red wings were flapping lazily. The children got in, and Chingy sat on the back. The 5 little elves easily found room on the 2 arms. Off they went, flying through the moonlight to their great and wonderful party. The magician's palace was set on top of a high hill. The chair did not take long to get there. It flew down, took its place among the long line of carriages that were drawing up one by one at the big front door. Then their turn came, and the children and the elves jumped off the chair and ran up the steps. They were shown into a great hall, and they shook their hands with the magician Greatheart, a tall and handsome enchanter, whose cloak rippled as he walked, as if it were made of blue water. His eyes were kind, and he looked right through everyone. A band was playing merrily in the big hall, and Chingy caught hold of Molly and danced with her. Peter found a small, shy fairy and danced with her, too. She was so light that he couldn't make up his mind if she was real or not. There were hundreds of fairy folk. They're all there of all kinds. Gnomes, goblins, fairies, elves, pixies, but only 2 children. So Molly and Peter felt most honored. They came to supper. It was strange, The long, long table was spread with plates and glasses and dishes, but there was no food at all. No, not even yellow jelly. The magician took his place at the end of the table. "Will each of you wish for what you like best to eat?" he said in a kind, deep voice. "Take it in turn, please." An elf next to him said, "I wish for honey lemonade and sugar biscuits." At once, a jug of yellow lemonade appeared by him and a plate of delicious sugar biscuits. The very next to the elf wished for chocolate blancmange. I don't know how to say that. That's a French word. And a cream pie. They appeared even as she spoke the words. It was such fun to see them come. Molly and Peter watched in amazement as all the dishes and jugs on the table became full, and the most exciting things when each little creature wished for her or his wish. They had their turns too. "I wish for cream buns and root beer," said Molly. "And I wish for treacle pudding and lemonade," said Peter. A dish of cream buns and a bottle of fizzy ginger beer, that's like root beer, appeared in front of Molly, and a dish with a steaming hot treacle pudding and a jug of lemonade appeared by Peter. It was just like a dream. Everyone ate and drank and was merry as could be. Then, after the supper, the magician spoke one strange word, and the long, long table with its dishes and plates vanished into the air. Oh my gosh. I wish I could do that. Cooking every single night and doing dishes every single night. What if we could just be like, and it's done, and everything gets put away and cleaned up? That would be awesome. We need that right now. Your parents need that. I hope you're helping your parents with your dishes. Make sure you do that today, for sure. I got distracted. Let's see. Now we will have some magic, said the magician, beaming at his excited guests. They all sat down on the floor. The magicians took a silver stick and tapped 3 times on the floor. A spire of green smoke came up and made a crackling noise. It shot up into the air, turned over, and wound its way among the guests, dropping tiny bunches of sweet-smelling flowers as it passed. Buttonholes for everyone. Buttonholes is a type of little flower. The smoke went. The magician tapped the floor again, and rose 5 black cats, each one of them with a violin, except for the last one. He had a drum. After the cats came 6 plump rabbits who danced to the tunes that the cats played. Can you imagine? One rabbit turned upside down and danced on his ears, and that made Peter laugh so much that he had to get out his handkerchief to wipe the tears and the laughter away. Then an evening stranger thing happened. The magician tapped the floor once more, and up came a great yellow flower. It opened, and in the middle of it, the guests could see 5 red eggs. The eggs broke, and out came tiny chicks. They grew, and they grew, and they grew, and became great, brilliant birds with long, drooping tails. Then they opened their beaks and sang so sweetly not a sound could be heard in the great hall but their voices. The birds flew away. The flower faded. The magician tapped the floor for the last time, and the gnome appeared, whose long beard floated round him like mist. He handed Greatheart a big dish with a lid. The magician took off the lid and lifted out a silver spoon. He stirred it in the air, and a bubbling sound came. Round the spoon grew a glass bowl. The children could see the spoon shining in it, but suddenly the spoon turned to gold and swam about like a live goldfish. Greatheart took the goldfish neatly into his hand and threw it into the air, and it disappeared. "Who has it?" said Greatheart. Everyone looked about, but no one had the fish. Greatheart laughed and went over to Molly. He put his hand into her right ear. What do you think happened? And pulled out the goldfish. Then he took up Peter's hand and opened it, and will you believe it, Peter had a little yellow chick there, cheeping away merrily. Oh, the tricks that the magician did. No one would ever believe them. Peter and Molly rubbed their eyes several times and wondered if he was dreaming. best of all came the last trick, whatever could it be. The magician, as he said goodnight to his guests, gave each of them a tiny egg. "It will hatch tomorrow," he said. "Keep it safely." The children thanked him very much for a marvelous evening, and then they got sleepily into the wishing chair with Chingy and the elves. How they got home they never knew, for it must have been magic. It took them home, undressed them, and popped them into bed without their knowing. Anyway, they found themselves there the next morning when they woke, although they didn't remember at all how they got there. "I believe it was all a beautiful dream," said Molly. "It wasn't," said Peter, putting his hand under his pillow. What do you think he finds under his pillow? He brought out his little egg. As he looked at it, it broke. And there in his hand was a tiny silver watch, ticking away merrily. Molly gave a scream of delight and put her hand under her pillow to get her egg too, and it broke in her hand, and out of it came a necklace of beads that looked exactly like bubbles. It was the loveliest thing Molly had ever seen. "Hurry up and dress and we'll see what Chinky got." They hurried, and when they saw Chinky, he showed them his present, golden buckles for his shoes. Didn't they look grand? "That was the loveliest party I have ever been to," said Molly happily. "I wish all our wishing chairs adventures were just like that." And that is the end of that really sweet chapter. That reminds me of the final chapter of The Enchanted Wood, when they went to the land of, it was Birthday Land. Do you remember that? And they sat at the table and they get to wish for things. Enid Blyton, this author, just loves to think of the coolest things. It's pretty awesome. So if you had an egg from this party that you were at, and the Great Heart gave you an egg, what do you think could be in it? So in your journal, the response is to draw a little egg, and hatching out of it, what would be the little gift that you would like that would be so special, just like Molly. Okay, I hope you're doing well. I will see you soon.